All righty, ladies and gentlemen, back here at Universities Forever here at 2080 Ronald Reagan Boulevard in Cumming, Georgia. And I got a legend here. I had a legend previously. I got a legend again. My man, Buck Belue, starting quarterback of the 1981 National Championship team. I don't think you need much introduction, but I gave you one anyway. How you doing today,
Buck?
We'll
take it, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no doubt. I was just telling you, you might be the first person I've ever had on my network or ever talked with me that will out radio voice me today. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I've worked hard on it. When I got to Athens from Valdosta, I had some work to do with that Southern accent, but we're trying to keep some of it.
You've had some practice at it over the last couple of years on the radio.
Man, it's been a glorious journey. It's been awesome. And I just met so many of these great Georgia fans out there through the years, just bouncing around a little bit. This book tour has really been awesome, too, having a chance to travel all over Georgia and peddle the
let's promote it, dude.
The book here. And, it's been great seeing everybody. Inside the Hedges is called. And you can find that at InsideTheHedges.com and order it online.
So tell me a little bit about the book, man. What should I expect when we get into it?
Well, it's the journey of a quarterback that was a part of that 1980 National Championship team. So we detail the 1980 season game by game. But I have been asked so many times through the years about Valdosta. But how did Valdosta win all those games? I thought it would be a great backstory to include some of that also.
I have a unique relationship with Valdosta, the city. I played at Shorter University. It's a Division II school in the Gulf South Conference. Yeah. And all I know about Valdosta is getting my brains beat in by Valdosta State. So not all that fun.
Well, I tell you, that was great entertainment for us growing up in Valdosta. We got to go see, the basketball team played. Didn't have a football program at the time. But I'll tell you, that Valdosta State baseball program was awesome. Mm-hmm. And so was the basketball program. So that was great entertainment.
It's a special town to the state of Georgia and college football in general. If you look at just like the track record of coaches that have come out of that town, Kirby Smart included, Valdosta State, coach himself, Will Muschamp, Mike Leach had a stint down there at Valdosta State
Chris
as well.
Hatcher has done a great job over at Sanford.
Absolutely. It's a long list of predominant and important football figures down there. Obviously, Shelton Felton, the head football coach now at Valdosta High School, doing a great job there. I want to talk specifically to you about a guy that I'm sure is going to get a lot of questions in the future about you as well, and that's Stetson Bennett. I haven't heard your thoughts or necessarily had your thoughts on the program on what you thought of his, kind of arc as a football player at Georgia and just your general thoughts on 13.
Well, I think right now he's in a great place with the LA Rams. You got a head coach that really appreciates his skill set. I think he sort of sees a little bit of him during his days at Marist, running that wishbone, the mobility, the ability to get out and hurt people with your legs. So I think that works in your favor when the coach likes your skill set.
Yeah.
Got Matt Stafford there looking after him a little bit. So I think he's in a really great place to make it in the National Football League. As far as the path that he took, man, I am such a big fan of the player that can overcome the adversity, you know, and he had heard so many times through the years, look, we like you as a player, but you're a little too small.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go with the 6'4" guy, and no offense, and look, he just never took no for an answer. I just love that about Stetson. Believed in himself, continued to work and develop, and gosh, look what happened. Just a dream come true. What a career, and just had so much fun watching him play. I never got a chance to see Fran Tarkenton play at Georgia.
I would imagine it was a lot like that.
Now, I saw the highlight reels of his NFL career, and my first thoughts of Stetson was this has got to be Fran Tarkenton on steroids. The way Stetson could run around and extend plays, make plays with his legs, or get outside the pocket and make the throws. And then he ended up developing, too, as a dangerous pocket passer, which allowed them to really do all things you wanted or need to do on offense to go out and do something big. So it's been great. I'm a big fan. In the beginning, I have to admit, I'm a guy that wants to see the football in the air. I want to see, and I always wanted to throw a little bit more to Lindsey Scott and Amp Arnold and some of those guys. And so I in the beginning, I saw JT Daniels throw it around, 400 yards in his first start. And I thought, this looks good to me. We can run it and throw it now. But, what Stetson did in the first national championship run in the playoffs
For sure.
convinced me I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Stetson Bennett needed to be the quarterback.
The quarterback position, it's an adversity position, right? You know this. You have to overcome adversity all the time. And two types of different adversities that Stetson overcame in his career. Long-term adversity, right? Being constantly doubted as this former walk-on and constantly having to overcome all of these little, mishaps along your journey or challenges, if you will. And then as a quarterback, once you get the job, you have to overcome short-term adversity down in and down out, right? I think two of his most important moments in his college career were the fumble in the national title against Alabama, and then he comes back the next two drives and scores immediately, and ultimately puts them back on top. And then you go to that Ohio State game, he throws that pick, trying to hit Kenny McIntosh up the sideline. The next possession, they score with Arian Smith on a big touchdown. They're down 14 points, and they get back into that game, right? So overcoming that adversity, not only long-term, overcoming all the doubts, but overcoming the short-term adversity too in the midst of games were important in his career.
Yeah, you got to be tough if you're going to play the quarterback position. I've never seen a quarterback play a perfect game.
No.
So you're going to make mistakes. The game is just so fast that there's no way to go out and play it perfectly. But I tell you what, he can feel good as he looks back on that career. What he and his teammates did, man, it turned this Bulldog Nation on fire. And they were starving. This is one of the great fan bases in all of sports, and at 41-year wait, it's about time we were able to get it done again.
Yeah, it was quite a long wait for you guys. I want to talk a little bit about the new quarterbacks that are coming in, right? Obviously, a little quarterback battle. Your initial thoughts. I think we kind of have a feeling of it's going to be Carson Beck. It's what it feels like based, coming out of spring and the first, 7 to 10 days here during fall camp, but just your general thoughts on the quarterback room right now.
Well, they got some talent in there. I like how Beck has been patient. He's waited patiently. And in this world of the transfer portal, let's face it now, 90% of the guys, they'd have been out the door by now.
Immediately.
But Carson stuck around. He's developed. He's worked hard on his game. And I'm really excited to see him play. I think it's going to be different than what we've had under Stetson Bennett. And, he's got a great offensive coordinator. And I look at the top three teams as I see it, not to diss the Michigan people, but you got Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. And they're all going through changes where they're going to have a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And
Clemson, you could throw Clemson in that mix as well.
Yeah, Klubnik, and Riley up there. So there's another one. I think Georgia's in a really good place here. Bobo knows his personnel like the back of his hand, having been there a couple of years. And I love what he said in his press conference this week where, he could have gone to other places and stayed on as a coordinator. He wanted to come to Georgia and learn and keep developing as a coach. And, gosh, guys in his position, I never expected to hear that out of somebody like Bobo who's, had a really outstanding coaching career. So
at the point in time when he makes that statement, he's 18 years into his coordinating career, essentially.
He's still looking to learn.
Yeah, he's still looking to learn. I thought that was fascinating.
Learn from Monken, and learn what was effective there. And he's going to incorporate some of that, the shifts and the motions where you're not giving away your formation and the play call that's about to be run there. So I like what I'm hearing out of him, and I'm totally sold on Bobo as a coordinator. And, Carson, I love the way he stands back in the pocket, and he can use the entire field.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just going to come down to him being a good decision maker. He can make all the throws. He's got great people around him. This receiving core, I think, is the best we've seen in a while, really deep and electric and talented. So he's got everything around him he needs. A great offensive coordinator calling the shots for him. Decision making. Punting won't be a bad thing with this defense Georgia's trotting out on the field.
Yeah, I know.
But trying to throw the ball into tight windows, risking the interception, if he could just stay away from those things, I think this Georgia offense is going to be really one of the better ones we're going to see.
It sounds like it's part of the reason why he's shaping up to win the job. It's not only the discipline and having waited your opportunity and getting your opportunity, and Kirby Smart operating that way, right? Over the years, we've always seen him kind of favor the older guy, or at least give the older guy an opportunity to play, especially at other positions. I think a primary example of this is Amir Speed getting the start at corner against Clemson a couple years ago. 6 quarters later, Keely Ringo's the starting corner, right? You have to play your way out of it as the old guy. I think even Julian Rochester started over Jalen Carter a couple of years ago. If you think about that, if you just say that out loud, that sounds absurd. But it is what's going to happen, I think, at the quarterback position. And with the way that they are, you're talking about talented at the wide receiver position and with Brock Bowers. I think the number one thing you need at the quarterback position, and correct me if I'm wrong, is a processor, a guy who's going to make the correct decisions down in and down out.
Yeah, I believe it begins in the passing game, at least, where you're not going to stick on that primary receiver very long.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of quarterbacks making that mistake. They're waiting for that primary to get open. Got to check that ball down. You got to move on to that second progression. Go to the third, check it down. And, Carson won't be – he can move now. He can move outside the pocket and throw it on the run. But he's not going to be a guy that's going to scramble around like Stetson. So I think it's going to be important for him to be able to do that. Discipline in your decision making. You're not risking putting the ball at risk. You're not going to hang on one receiver. You're going to move through that progression really quick. And as I mentioned, throw the ball away. Hey, if nobody's there, let the defense come out and play. They might give you a better field position. You come back and score on the next possession. So, and I like what Vandegrift does too. I mean, he's got that mobility.
Yeah.
He's got that in him. And I think Kirby sort of likes that now after what he saw out of Stetson, getting out of all that trouble when he got in trouble in the pocket and moving around. And I think Vandegrift's got a shot here. I think he's been a guy, though, that had to tighten up the delivery.
For sure.
Learning not to try to throw it in the tight window, come off that, go to the next guy. And I'm a big fan of Gunnar Stockton, too. I think he's just got that it factor. It's really tough to explain. He just seems to do everything pretty well, and the guys gravitate toward him. He's a winner. I like what I see out of all three of these guys.
I get Baker Mayfield vibes, college Baker Mayfield vibes from Gunnar Stockton. That's what I get. Going back to the Carson Beck discussion, you've obviously been an astute studier of the quarterback position for quite some time now. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this comparison. If you made one of the Manning boys play in 2023 at the position where it requires you to move around, I think that's what it would look like. I think it would look like Carson Beck. He makes if you go back and watch that spring game, what you're talking about, processing through reads, hitting checkdowns, always doing the right thing. He does that, and he doesn't have – neither of the Mannings ever had this, Pat Mahomes arm where it's like, golly, watch that ball come out. No, it was always about guy makes right decisions, guy understands protections, guy makes right plays all the time, and we just matriculate the ball down the field. I think that's what you're going to get. What do you think about that comparison?
Graham, I like it. Yeah, and, we're going to run that outside zone.
Yeah.
So, the natural play off that is going to be the run action bootleg off of that, which Stetson was just marvelous at. And Beck can do that.
Yeah.
Beck can do that. And really, I think more than anything else, if you can just avoid that first pass rusher that comes in and avoid that, he's going to be fine. He can throw it on the run. He can run a little bit. I think this offense is going to be back doing what we expect them to do, score a lot of points.
Do you have any thoughts? I mean, obviously you do. What are your predictions on the 2023 year, man? How do you think they shape out?
Well, as I look around, we got as much talent as anybody in the game. I look at our coaching staff and think, wow, our coaching staff is as good as there is in college football, especially on defense, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, my goodness, what a great coaching staff Kirby has put together over there. The schedule, we're going to hear a lot about that this year, the schedule being easy and that kind of thing. Look, at the end of the day, playing your best football at the end of the year where you got to take down Tennessee, you're going to face LSU or Alabama probably in the SEC title game and go right back into the playoffs. That's when Georgia needs to be up in their game and playing their best. And if they do that, they got a shot to do that three-peat, man. That's amazing to even sit here and talk about.
It's beneficial that they get September and October to prepare themselves for mid-November on into January, because that's where the season, you're right, 100% starts. I think the beginning of the difficulties for Georgia is actually the week before Tennessee, in my opinion. Home game against Ole Miss, a football team that can typically run the football, going to have some explosive weapons on the outside, going to have to stop Judkins. I think that Ole Miss, Tennessee, let's call it a week off against Georgia Tech, and then you get no offense, and then you get the SEC title game like you're talking about. That's really where the season starts. You get an opportunity to find out who you are up until that date. I want to get your question. I asked Tim Worley, Mount Rushmore of Georgia running backs. Give me the Mount Rushmore of Georgia quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And I see a lot of people doing this, man.
Yeah.
I tell you, social media all over this.
You can kick, punt, and pass. I don't care. You can say, nah, let's go punt. They're all great. I don't care.
It's tough, man. I tell you, you got to, start with. To me, it's less about the stats and more about the winning.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the guy that was probably here talking that didn't have that opportunity to throw it around like some of these guys are doing right now. But, gosh, you know, the number one guy, at this point, I'd probably say today, I'd say Stetson Bennett up top is the GOAT. You know, I would look at, you know, Matthew Stafford and what he did, Murray, Green, Shockley. I can't rate them, and I don't want to rate them.
Yeah.
You know, I love them all. And, you know, that was one of the things, you know, when I left Georgia and graduated, I wanted to, you know, not mentor, but I wanted to have a relationship with each one of these guys that came through. And I reached out to all of them and have become friends with most all of them.
I was about to say mission accomplished in that sense, Buck. You seem to be relatively influential, if I may say so myself.
We've had some great ones
around here on the Georgia beat. Well, I appreciate you, man. Buck Belue, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you for coming on, ladies.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man, no doubt.
Keep up the good work.
I will, man. Appreciate you.